talks to the house and says, Noah's house, there's a flood coming. And there beside the house, there is these plans for an ark. All right. And you need to use those plans, Noah's house, because he couldn't talk to Noah. Inky had gone to the house of Noah, and he had to talk to the house of Noah because he couldn't, under oath, he couldn't talk to Noah himself. Okay. And so what ended up happening is he had to say everything he had to say to Noah's house. He wasn't under oath not to talk to Noah's house. They said he couldn't talk to the humans. So he talked to the house. And when he talked to the house, if Noah overheard it, fine. All right. So Noah overheard it, and he took the plans. And of course, as we know, he created an ark. Now, this ark was not an ark like what y'all thinking, a boat. It was a tumbler, meaning that thing could roll over, and it was a tumbler kind of boat. All right. And so everybody's under this discussion about how big was the boat, and the animals came one by one. Let's understand what happened with the animals on the ark and what really went down according to the ancient scriptures. Now, I told you that Inky was very good at manipulating DNA. All right. So when he found out that there was going to be a flood and that everything on the planet would be destroyed, he and Ninmah took it upon themselves to go around and gather the DNA of all the animals that they didn't have in their lab. Now I need to go into something because Inky and Ningujita and Ninmah, they were very big at splicing things. All right. You hear about, I don't know the name they called them, these type of beings, but it'll be half, the lower half is animal and the top half is human, and the top half is animal and the lower half is human, that kind of thing. They were creating those beings. They were splicing all kind of beings together. But for whatever reason, those melanated or carbonated human vessels wouldn't allow them to splice those things together. But they were splicing a whole bunch of other stuff. And as I told you, like when you hear about things like Neanderthals and Bigfoot and all that, that was coming from the Anunnaki, who their original attempt to create a human. But then after that, they start splicing all kind of different animals. You can't find a being on this planet that's really natural. Like a cat, dog, horse, cow, all these other beings that you know of, lions, tigers, bears, gorillas, they're all hybrid beings. And so they were splicing all of these different beings together. All right. So when they found out about the flood, Inky, his sister Ninmah, and his son, they went around and collected the other beings that they didn't have. Because they got a lab. They be in the lab. And so the animals, the DNA that they didn't have, they went around and collected the DNA of all of the other animals. And then they put it in a box. And that box they put on the ship with Noah was not being told to us also is Inky had his son to help guide that ark. Inky's son was on the ship with Noah to guide it. So these are some of the things that, we haven't been told about what went down with that boat and with the animals. So everybody's like, they had chickens and they had gorillas and they had all these animals. How he gonna have enough room to put all the animals on the boat? He had the DNA. Think about it. If you in Atlanta, and you got this garden, and it's got a banana tree, and it's got grapes and tomatoes and potatoes and lettuce and all these other things. Are you going to pick up the banana tree and put it on the plane with you so you can take the banana tree over to California? Because we're going to move to California now. I want my garden over here in California because I ain't gonna be over here in Atlanta. I'm gonna go over here to California. So you gonna pick the banana tree up and take the banana tree over there? No. You're gonna take a seed from the banana tree. You're gonna take the seed for the lettuce and the tomatoes and the potatoes and all of the other stuff that you want. You're taking the seed and then you're going to replant it when you get over here to California. You're not going to pick the whole tree up. You don't need the whole tree. As long as I got the seed, I can create a whole nother being over here in California. Well, it's the same thing with the DNA. If I got a cell from the being, then I have everything I need to create another one. Okay? So what I'm saying is he put the DNA of the beings in a box, and he had that box on the ship with Noah, and his son was on the ship. Also, there were other people from Noah's neighborhood. Not all of them called him crazy. Most of them did. But he took some of the people there, and of course, Noah, his 3 sons, and they were on the ship. And so once the whole flood had started to happen, Enlil set off a nuclear bomb. And what I encourage you to do is go get a map, because I showed this one time on here. But go get a map and take a look at all of that light space across Africa. Take a look at, you'll find desert areas in Arizona and down there. Okay, so when you read the book of Inky, it talks about how this bomb was set off and the wind carried the cloud, the nuclear cloud, across the territory, across the land. Well, that, when you see in Africa, that whole light spot going across there, that used to be fertile land with greenery. Well, what happened? When you look at science, it'll tell you this used to be fertile soil, but this is nuclear reactive sand. That's what this sand is. It's a nuclear reaction that caused it. That didn't just happen like that. So there are things, when you read ancient scriptures and then you go into science and then you go into archaeology and you start finding out that all of this stuff is in alignment